Welcome back to another video. In this video, we actually want to share the epic story of Angie, who's taking a couple minutes of her busy day to join us here. And she is a member of the Recruiter School, and her growth has been nothing short of transformational so far. And I thought it would just be fair. The least we can do is put the spotlight on her and kind of allow her to kind of share her experience and story with everybody here. So, Angie, thank you so much for making time.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. So I guess before we get into it, can you just share a little bit what you've been doing before joining like the recruiter school? Like, were you in recruiting? How did you even get into recruiting? Like all that big, exciting backstory.
Yeah, so I've been recruiting for, I hate to say it because it ages me, but about 15 years. So right out of college, I knew I wanted to do HR. I started doing HR and then just got thrown into recruiting. So I've been doing it for 15 years. And then the last 5 years, I've been remote recruiting.
Wow. 15 years, that's a long career. So during those years, were you like you were telling yourself, I love recruiting, like recruiting is my thing, like I want to do this for the rest of my career? Is that how you saw it?
Yeah, so back in 2008, I was working as an HR specialist on Wall Street and I was working for a finance company and I came on board and then I was part of doing mass layoffs. So that was really one of those layoffs was our in-house recruiter. So then it's like, okay, Angelica will do the recruiting from now on. They got rid of the recruiter. I was a lot junior and I just kind of had to figure it out.
Wow. So you
And I've
just kind of
loved it
fell
ever
into
since.
recruiting.
Yeah, pretty much. But I loved it because I found out early on that for me, it was like job security because I felt like most HR people don't like to do recruiting.
Hmm.
It's either you love it or you hate it. And I was just always finding that like no one wanted to take on recruiting. So I'm like, this is great for me.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed it.
that's interesting. Was there anything about like your skill set or personality that like showed you, wow, I can actually be good at this?
Yeah, I don't like to shut up. I love talking to people. And yeah, I always felt like it gives me a good way to like kind of be like a really good liaison between good candidates and then like working with the company that I'm working for.
Gotcha.
So I just always enjoyed that.
So you fell into internal corporate and then you kind of made that switch to working for yourself. So how did that happen? Was that scary? Was that nerve-wracking?
Are you struggling with getting responses from clients? Are you an established recruiter who is struggling to break six figures and beyond? Are you looking to start recruiting part-time and you don't know how? Do you feel burned out and stuck spending hours and hours each day in manual tasks like sourcing and outreaching and feeling like you have no time to actually run and grow your business? I am absolutely happy to announce that we have launched our own recruitment, educational, and coaching program to help you on your journey. We made sure that everything I've learned in the past 10 years, the tips, the strategies that really helped me build multiple seven figures of placements on my own desk with some of the best companies in the world will be included in there. We'll also be including things like how you can build an acquisition system that brings in clients every month to your agency hands-free, how you can maximize the probability of a positive close during negotiations, how you can automate and outsource your day-to-day operations so that you don't have to spend hours per day researching or sourcing, how you can figure out the new and modern way to scale your agency that minimizes risk and maximize your upside potential. And we've also included much more. The best thing about this is not only will you be getting amazing content, but we will also handhold you and be with you every step of the way to make sure that you are held accountable and you crush your goals. We'll also share with you our own tech stack, tools, and plugins we actually use, plus everything else we know about automation and AI to help you save time, work smarter, and not be a slave to your business. The exciting news is that we've actually rolled this out to a select few people earlier this year, and I'm excited to see them well on the way to multiple six figures, with some breaking $30,000 to $50,000 per month already. So if you're interested to be a successful recruiter that can dominate in any market conditions, make sure you click on the link below to chat with another member of our team, and we're happy to chat with you to see if we can help you out. Make sure you jump on this really quickly. See you on the other side.
So you fell into internal corporate and then you kind of made that switch to working for yourself. So how did that happen? Was that scary? Was that nerve-wracking?
Yeah, so I left New York, came down to Florida. So in New York, I always worked very corporate roles, finance. And then I came down to Florida and it was very humbling. So I was like working my way up, almost making six figures when I left New York. And then I come down to Florida and it's like, I'm back to square one. Could not find the roles that I was used to. Like corporate recruiting was like a thing of the past. So a lot of the jobs down here were like landscaping, construction, blue collar. I had no experience doing that, but it was kind of like, I just had to learn it. And I took a huge pay cut. And then I think going into pandemic, I knew that I wanted to work remotely. I was like, you know what? I've been doing this for enough time. I'm professional. I've been doing this long enough to know that I can, kind of wanted to do kind of like a consulting or remote job. And then once the pandemic hit, I'm like, this is the time to do this. So I've been doing remote ever since the pandemic.
Oh, wow. Now, was it a remote job, or it was like you were working at home for yourself?
No, I purposely sought out like contract recruiting roles.
Gotcha,
So yeah, I've
gotcha.
been pretty much doing that since the pandemic between like
Wow.
long-term contracts, short-term contracts. Yeah.
That's amazing. And so you went from corporate, pandemic happened, now you're like remote contracting. And so at what point were you like, I kind of maybe want to do this for myself?
So I remember there was a specific contract that I was working. I was working for a biotech company. Same thing. Like I never had any experience in these type of positions. It was biotech pharma. I had that opportunity. Someone, gave me this job. It was really fun. There was one job in particular that I was recruiting for. I don't remember what the job title was. I just know that the salary was like over 300K. And not only was it a high salaried position, but the company itself was just like very like, oh yeah, whatever they want. There was just like no cap. There was no limit to what they were willing to offer for this one particular position. And I just had a light bulb moment. I'm like, if they were outsourcing the recruiting for someone, like this person would make bank. I'm like, I could be that person making the bank. And then that's when I started doing my homework.
Wow. Was it just homework or did you actually take action and like on the side of your remote contracting job, you started taking action to like incorporate or LLC or like start your own side hustle? Or was it just kind of like a big, just cold, you just jumped into it fully?
Yes. Yeah, I started like doing the research and, starting a business is obviously, well, yes and no. It's like a lot easier than I thought it would be just doing like the logistics. So I started my business, I would say I started in 2023, but it was maybe like 2022 when I had that light bulb moment.
Oh. And
So
was
maybe it
this,
took like about a year to like actually get it done and get it off the ground.
and was this the first time you've worked for yourself or like have you started other businesses before?
I had done like other small things, like I did eBay for a long time and I dabbled in that. And I've always been kind of like entrepreneurial and I'm always open to new ideas. And that's just kind of like, growing up in New York, that's just what people do. Like everyone has their side hustle or part-time job. And so I've always been very open to like, what else can I do? And then also being in HR and being on both sides of laying people off and having been laid off so many times, like I just know that it's always good to have something in your back pocket. But yeah, this was like the first time where it's like, okay, I'm going to put all these years of recruiting to good use. Like I know this, like I know how to recruit. I know how to be a recruiter. So it was definitely more like a real business.
So what happened from like 2022 to like when you came and met us and you came into the program? Like, was it like a harsh truth or reality? You're like, oh my God, there's like a huge skill gap. I don't know. I'm missing something. Like, were you able to get a couple clients of your own? Like, what happened from like when you started to like when you and I had a first chat?
Yeah, so I started the business officially in 2023. I was able to get a couple of clients, but it was very like part-time. So I feel for like the last 2 years, I've just been kind of like very part-time, chugging along, clients here and there, part-time money. I think like going into 2025 and like reassessing my goals and like what I want for this year, it was just like, all right, am I going to do this or not? Like, am I going to go all the way? Am I going to keep doing this part-time? And same thing with like the contracts, working contract roles is great because you're doing it 3 to 6 months. And for someone like me that gets really bored very easily, I'm working with different companies, but at the end of the day, it's a contract. So if they decide, call me at 4:30 p.m. and say, thanks for your services, that's kind of like the reality of what I do. So I was like, you know what? I got to get myself in a position where I'm building the business on the side and I'm taking that money from work and reinvesting it into a business. So yeah, I just kind of felt like I just got to rip the Band-Aid off and do it all
And
the
so
way.
when you actually started though, like what ultimately drew you and inspired you to kind of come into the recruiter school?
Just got tired of like, I got to a point where I was putting everything like the business was second or, very last. I have 3 kids too. So that's like a huge priority for me. So it's like the business just became kind of like, I'll get to it or I'll do it when I can. And I'm like, if I don't take like a big action, like this is going to become like a hobby for me. And I didn't want it to become a hobby. And I also got tired of just like dabbling and like, researching here and watching a video here. And it's funny, like when I saw your videos online, I'm like, I need a recruiter school. Like I need to go back to school. I need like a recruiter university. And then of course, that's when I saw your videos. And I've been watching your videos since day one.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So how
All of
has
them.
it been since you started? Like since you started the program with us?
I just feel like it has 10x'd my mindset, which is like, and it's so corny, but like anytime you look at like business tips and like any type of like entrepreneurial, motivation, like that's like the first thing they'll say to you. It's like your mindset, your mindset. I always used to think that was so corny, but it's absolutely true. It just shifts your whole mindset. You guys talk a lot about just getting things done and not overthinking and simplifying. And I think the recruiter school has done that for us. It's like, you don't need to overthink this. It's not rocket science. There's tools, there's resources. And then you guys encourage us to just, try it out. If it doesn't work, you move on to the next thing. So I think unless you're used to having that mindset, most of us will kind of get stuck in like, what should only take, an hour it will take 10 days for us. And I just see that happening just from, talking to people. And I think that for me has been like the biggest shift. It's like, let's get it done. Let's move. Sense of urgency, which is really important in having a business. So yeah, it's been awesome.
Mindset's super important. I think like aside from the technical stuff, the tools, the strategies, like if you're not ready here, if you're not ready to put in the work, like you're just not going to move forward to see results, right? And so I appreciate you sharing that. But one of the cool things with you is that when it comes to, I know like a client acquisition was a huge priority for you. We teach you all the ways how to properly engage a company and the right decision makers. And the cool thing with you is like you just embraced one of like the hardest channels, which is cold calling. And a lot of people say, oh my God, cold calling sucks. It's dead. You can't get anything. But I absolutely disagree. But also it depends on your market too. So like you happen to be in a market where cold calling is probably one of the most effective things that you can do. But just even saying those words will scare people, Angie. So the fact that like you literally embraced it and you started taking action and you started getting clients from it really quickly, that's amazing because you not only took action, but you took action against like the hardest thing you could do. And how was that experience? I know it was scary. It was nerve-wracking. It still makes you kind of a little bit sick making the calls, but like, I told you, you're such a strong communicator. You have a great personality. If you just know the right way to structure a call and what to actually say, if you get someone on the call, I 100% believe that you have a high chance of converting it. And you proved us right time and time again. But what was your experience like?
Yes, even you saying cold calling kind of like still gives me like little chills. And I think I spoke to you about this before. Like I kind of had my back up against the wall. I got laid off from one of my contracts. It was expected to last longer than, the time that I had. I got laid off and, it was great for a few months. And it's like, okay, I'm not getting the clients that I want. So my back was up against the wall. It's like, I just had a moment where it's like, are you going to pick up the phone and make these calls or are you going to, cry about it? And then the other thing that really motivated, I think the very first person that I called picked up and they became my client, which is the HVAC guy. So if that doesn't encourage you, and yeah, it was nerve wracking, but yeah, I am able to get people on the phone. And I also kind of like take advantage of the fact that I'm a woman and I'm speaking to men that are in construction and landscaping and HVAC. And I feel like that kind of earns respect, right? Like here's this lady calling me, I feel like you just have to be bold sometimes if you want to move the needle with the business.
I love it. I love it. I mean, I think for guys, it's so easy to like just hang up on other guys, right? But like if it's just like a professional woman, she knows exactly what to say. She's perfect. And like you're leading into that. It's like a no-brainer. You're just leaning into human psychology and going for it and it's working. And so like I remember like you got a client. It was like your first week or two. It was like I was shocked. And then now, you're getting into a good rhythm with cold calling. You're adding other channels to it to make sure that your multiple kind of acquisition distribution channels are kind of working on a lot of different cadences, not really attacking, but like reaching out to people, maximizing the chance of getting responses and eyeballs. And yeah, it's just been absolutely awesome to see that develop. But I think like for me, I'm like, that's the coolest thing for someone to, it's not like you just dipped your toes in. You're like, oh, let me just try little emails. Let me just hide behind like a LinkedIn message. You're like, no, let's just cold call. And you got results from it, which is amazing.
There's something to be said about when you don't have any other option, you need to make your business work. Cause like at the end of the day, I feel like we know what we need to do, but sometimes we shy away from it or, we put it off, but yeah, pick up the phone and call.
And sometimes you just need someone else like me to be like, Angie, you should be doing this, right? And I think that's so cool because like I can't physically like sit next to you and be like, hey, do it, right? Like you did it all by yourself. Like you went through that whole journey of like, oh, I don't want to do it, but I should do it. And then I'm doing it. Now it's working. And so how are you also enjoying like the coaching calls? Is that something that you find valuable?
I love them. They are super valuable. I love them. It's like my favorite part of the week. It's actually funny. I was thinking about this call today and I was like, you know what? Like I love our coaching calls. I love that we have them twice a week. I love the time of day. It's just like perfect. Like please don't change it. So it's just very convenient. I love getting on the calls and seeing like, what people are doing in their own business. Again, I intentionally wanted to work from home and work remote, but it gets lonely. It's been, 5 years. Again, I love my space. I love it, but I don't have anyone to like bounce ideas off of or say, hey, like, what do you think I should do? Like we don't have that. So with the coaching calls, we have that. that. And people are in different industries. So, what works for one business might not work for you. So I love it. It's been great.
Happy to hear that. I actually love it too. I very much look forward to it. And it's just so cool to see familiar faces like you also just making tremendous progress too, right? And it just more validating like, hey, like what we teach you like actually works. We just have to make the effort together, take action, and you can absolutely see results. And so what are you kind of most excited about now looking forward to the rest of the year with your business? Any big plans or strategies or big goals?
Be like you, Preston. I want to be, swamped with all this work and new clients and so much work that I don't know what to do with. Yeah, I think that just growing and getting more clients and working with different companies. I love that. So
it's all about like making sure you level up correctly, right? Because I think for you, you had such a strong like candidate recruitment experience, corporate recruitment experience, but one of the things that you haven't developed was like the sales side, right? And so I think that's like the biggest difficulty why a lot of like corporate recruiters, they start working for themselves and then kind of fail because they're like, oh my God, this whole client acquisition thing is something I never had to do. And it's really, really scary. And it's not as simple as like just cold call because like it's all about making sure you call the right people, make sure you say the right things, you have the right, you're structuring it, your call to action. You have to do everything perfectly. And what's kind of adding to that now in 2025 is it's way more difficult now than what it was a couple to several years ago. And so you not only have to just do a little bit of cold calling, but you got to cold call perfectly. You got to cold email perfectly, right? And if you don't, you're just not going to see consistent results. You're just going to like continue to waste time and a lot of money. And so I think like for you, you identified like, hey, I'm strong here, but I also like, I'm seeing progress in client acquisition. I know I can level up. I know I want to focus more on getting better clients coming into the door because if I can do that, then my business will never stagnate. It will always be busy. And now you're putting all the pieces together and your desk has momentum, but boy, oh boy, it's going to continue and it's going to rapidly get way faster, Angie. So I hope you're ready.
I'm ready for it.
If there's like one major thing that you learned, like it can be anything, big or small, what's the first thing that kind of comes to mind?
With recruiting or specifically with like the recruiter school?
Yeah, with the recruiter school.
I guess it probably applies to both, is to move fast. And I think ever since I started watching your videos, like I think that's what stood out to me and like why I was like, I want to work with this guy. Cause that's kind of like what I always learned with, starting recruiting is like move fast, have a sense of urgency. That's the feedback that I would get when I was, a younger recruiter. It's like you have to have a sense of urgency. You drive that home on the coaching calls and the recruiter school. Like that's just really super important. Move fast, figure it out as you go, and to like not overthink things. Like, this is here for you. We have resources. We have people that can help you along the way to just, move fast. You want to do something, move on it.
And this is not just recruiting. This should also be applied to life. If you want it,
Yes.
go get it.
Absolutely.
Don't wait.
Yeah.
Life is short. Right? And
Absolutely.
so, man, I feel like the recruiter school should just teach one thing. I should just stop everything and just be like, move fast. Do more, move faster.
I don't remember what it was, but like somebody said something on one of our calls and you were just like something about like getting candidate. And like I already knew what you were going to say because I watched like every single one of your videos. And like now that's how I think. I'm like, I think the way Preston, I'm like, what would Preston do? And I think someone had said something about like getting a candidate, on the phone. And they were like, oh yeah, I'm going to speak to him, Thursday. And you're like, why not today? Get him on the phone right now. And so like, that's kind of like same thing. Like whenever I need to speak to someone, I stopped like putting things on people's calendar. Like if I have your phone number, I'm calling you, I'm getting you on the phone. I spoke to someone this morning and they were in California. They took my call. It was 7 a.m. over there. And he was so happy to hear from me. Just get on the phone.
Get me fired up, honestly, because like you can use the best tools, you can use the best strategies, but if you move slowly, you can find the best candidate. You will never do a placement, right? You'll always get beaten out over and over and over again. And I think for a lot of recruiters out there, they're in that situation. They're like, I know everything, but I don't see results because you're moving so slowly. Like people don't understand recruiting is so competitive, but like any business is competitive. Like you have to move fast. And so the way I do deals is I try to control the process as much as possible. And I make it super efficient and move as fast as I can to get it across the finish line, right? I'd rather get a no. Like if I was cold calling you, Angie, I'd rather get a no now than wait like 3 weeks and then get a no.
There you go.
Like that's also me. Like I'm also just extremely impatient. And I'm like, just tell me, like, just communicate. I need to know, Angie, is it a yes or is it a no? Right.
I think I'm very impatient too. And I think it makes for a good recruiter to be impatient.
It makes for a really good, I think, business operator. Like you have to be impatient. I would rather you take action and make 100 mistakes than not taking action, making 0 mistakes.
Yeah. And like to what you just said right now, like, you can have all the tools, all the knowledge, but if you're slow, I'd rather work with someone that doesn't have the tools or the knowledge. They're going to hustle. They're going to move fast. They'll probably probably close a lot more than the other person.
I will take that person with a hard work ethic over someone who doesn't any day.
Absolutely.
Because you just point them in the right direction, they're going to crush it,
Yep.
right? If someone is like, hey, Angie, I'm kind of thinking about maybe being a recruiter, maybe as a career, as a job, maybe starting my own agency, like what would you say to them?
Would definitely recommend all your videos for sure. And then, yeah, just, I don't know. That's a good question. I know. I feel like, where would I point them? I would definitely point them to your videos and I would let them know, like, this is what I did. But, I would not want someone to kind of make the same mistake that I did, which to me was like waiting too long. It's kind of like, if you're going to do it, go all in. So, and I've had to learn that, like, I did this for, part-time, just kind of chugging along. That to me was a mistake. So I'm learning from my mistake. And then that's when I was like, all right, I'm going to invest in this. I'm going to go to recruiter school. I'm going to be all in, take advantage of the resources that are available and, don't overthink it. Just kind of go all in from day one.
Go all in. And I think that's the theme of this video, right? Because we can go and talk more about client acquisition, placements and all that stuff. But I think like it's just equally fulfilling for me to just talk about like the growth someone has done and really embracing what I think is the real secret sauce in anything in life is action. Take action and still take it, no matter how uncomfortable you are with the back against the wall. Like I almost tell myself, Angie, every morning, act as if that was my first day, right? Every Monday, act as if that was my first Monday. Every first of each month, act as if that was the first month of my career. And like really trying to like bring up that sense of urgency, energy in the attack mode and offense. You want to have that every day. And if you can find a way to make that consistent, you're already going to be in the 1%.
That's true.
So I'm super proud of Angie. She's carved a really amazing niche in Florida for yourself, getting a lot of clients, fantastic interviews. And honestly, I can't wait to see what you do for the rest of the year. But you've been just an amazing familiar face to see on the calls. And I can't wait to come to Florida and celebrate all your exciting milestones. And just please keep doing what you're doing. And, your story is awesome. You took that leap of faith, you took action, and now you're absolutely seeing results. And so for people who are like, hey, you can't get results in 2025, cold calling doesn't work, none of these things work, like they do work. You just have to learn it properly and do it correctly. And one more thing, like with me and my agency, we can stop everything and just cold call and still get clients. People don't understand how powerful cold calling is. Like with AI and LinkedIn messaging and emails, it's so easy just to be like a keyboard warrior and just hide behind a computer. But I tell people, if you can always go back and embrace the old school traditional, like meet people in person, the basics, cold calling, that still has the highest conversion rate if you do things correctly than any other method out there, right?
Yeah, and it's kind of just like common sense, right? That's what made me cold call. It's like, what? These people are probably getting emails all day, every day. It's easy to ignore, but like once you have someone on the phone, back to basics.
Back to basics. So Angie, keep crushing it, keep doing those calls, keep making us proud, and can't wait to see what you do in the next couple of months.
Thank you.
Awesome. Talk to you soon. And thanks for making a couple minutes of your day free. And let's make 2025 awesome.